Thank you.
We'll move to item number 3.
RFA 197-20, submission of coronavirus relief fund direct aid plan to the state with Philip Smith Haynes, County Administrator.
Good morning again, Phil.
Good morning again. So in the earlier action from our office, the Commission approved a budget of about $52 million for the county that was based on many months of work and a long-standing tradition of state law and clear expectations of what our requirements are. In this item, we're asking the Commission to approve $11,026,434 in expenditures and submit those to the state for the Coronavirus Relief Fund without the benefit of the many months of preparation and settled expectations that go into typical budgeting. In this case, the state of Kansas has passed through federal money with very limited guidance. And so to deal with that, your commission on July 7th appointed a 7-member advisory committee. That committee has met a number of times and has come up with some recommendations on how to expend those funds. The committee is before the commission today for your approval, and I will say we received more than 100 applications for this funding. We appreciate all of the preparation from all of the folks who submitted applications. Ultimately, the committee's recommendations were transmitted to commissioners last evening, and I'm pleased to note that although we didn't start out this way, the committee ultimately came to a pretty wide spread of the funds around the community and among the different applications. So it's going roughly a quarter to nonprofits, a quarter to for-profit businesses, a quarter to education, and a quarter-ish to governmental agencies. So what's on the screen behind me is the order of the different recommendations from the committee from largest to smallest, and I will just go through the first few here for the benefit of the commission, and then I'll be happy to answer questions from the commission, take public comment. I know there are several of the committee members who are here today. The largest recommendation from the committee is for a partnership between the county and the Saline Area Chamber of Commerce Foundation. The foundation requested $3 million in funding. The committee is ultimately recommending just over $2.7 million of that funding. And this would be for the purpose of creating a grant program for small businesses in the community that have been impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic. This is one of the clear directives in the federal guidance. There's, as I mentioned earlier, not a lot of clarity in the state and federal guidance, but benefits to small businesses is something that's clearly spelled out in the federal guidance. We did have over 37 businesses in the community that did submit applications. The committee ultimately decided, rather than trying to weigh each of those individual applications and weigh through them, it would be in our interest to create a program to get further information from each of those businesses and include businesses that did not submit in the very tight time frame. The second application is for USD 305, and Education is another clear high priority. As you know, the school systems are facing reopening decisions at this point in time, and so getting funding to our schools to allow them to safely educate children in the face of the COVID-19 pandemic was a clear priority both for this committee and for the state guidance. The third highest, I believe, is the city of Salina. Yes, so as you know, the city of Salina has been impacted dramatically by the COVID-19 pandemic. Unfortunately, one of the stipulations in the federal funding is that it cannot be used to replace lost revenues from local governments. However, the city did identify a number of expenditures that they have had related to the pandemic, and we do believe that this will assist the city in their recovery efforts. Next is the county. This includes a number of programs, including our administration of the fund itself, our reimbursements for costs that we've already expended, and about $325,000 in new programs that are proposed by the county for things like telework. Then we have a number of other recommendations that are spread out around a number of nonprofits in the community. The couple of the big ones are the Saline Family Health Care Center. This would allow them to purchase a mobile medical and dental unit that they could deploy around the community so folks didn't have to travel to doctors' offices during the pandemic. Child Care Aware would create a grant program for child care centers. Child care is a clear priority of the committee as well as the business community in allowing parents to return to work. And then finally, I'll mention the YMCA. This funding request funds about 5 or 6 different programs within the YMCA, several of which are partnerships with other entities within the community. So I'll stop there. Again, be happy to answer questions about anything on the list, any of the committee recommendations. Finally, I will say, in a normal situation, we would have had an opportunity for the commission to have had a lot more time to go through all of this and give some feedback to the committee and so forth, but that's just simply not the case in this situation. The state is requiring us to submit a plan by this Saturday, and so that's where we are, and I thank the committee members for all of their hard work.
Well, first, let me echo that comment, and I want to thank the committee for their hard work, their due diligence, their willingness to get in here and roll up their sleeves right away. Philip Smith Haynes, our administrator, was the chairman. Our emergency preparedness director, Michelle Barkley, also served. I see members out there, Kristen Gunn and Charles Roth and Pam Smith, along with Dr. Dirk Hutchinson and Tom Bell were on that committee, and from what I've heard, they really worked hard. The governor and the Spark committee gave us, literally, and the committee, not much time to get this done. And as Phil said, the commissioners got this last night a little after 5 o'clock. People my age go to bed right after sundown anyway, so I haven't had a lot of time to and sometimes before sundown. But at any rate, we appreciate your hard work, and this is pretty impressive to me. I do have a question regarding the very first one, the Salina Area Chamber of Commerce. That money, they will, and you explained what they were going to do with it. Does that ultimately come back to us for approval?
Yeah, the committee had a number of recommendations around how they would like to see such a program structured. And so if your commission approves this and Chamber Executive Director Eric Brown and I plan to meet later this week and start hashing out some of those things. I believe all of these individual programs, except for the ones that are going to the cities and schools, will require an agreement be executed between the recipient of the funds and the county. And County Councilor Mike Montoya is working on language for such an agreement right now. The chamber one, because it is such a big, well, I will say the chamber one and actually the child care aware one as well, because of the magnitude and also because they plan to turn around and ship that money out to other entities, those will probably require a little extra layer in that agreement.
And they will have to follow the same guidelines that every other, the criteria that to be rewarded the funds.
Absolutely.
And
yes,
that sounds like a very good plan. Happy to see the chamber get involved and be able to get that out there. So at this time, other commissioners have comments or questions?
On the chamber foundation aspect of it, will those 37 businesses have to reapply, or I assume it just rolls over on?
So that's one of the things, Eric and I will talk about, but the committee certainly said that we would prefer that we just give those 37 to the chamber and let them deal with it. Now, whether the chamber requires some additional information or how that works, I will note in the chamber's proposal, they had proposed a maximum dollar amount for each business based on number of employees and so forth. And some of these businesses requested very small amounts, some requested very large amounts. So I think there would need to be some tweaking to those applications to fit the chamber's program, but certainly better than not funding any of them.
Will they be under a certain time frame? I know it's kind of an end of the year thing.
Thank you, Commissioner Shadwick. Yes, I should have mentioned that in addition to the rushed process on the front end of all of this, there is a tight time frame for expending all of the funds. All of these funds, the entire $11,026,434 must be expended by December 30th of this year. So the chamber will absolutely be under a tight time frame for getting those monies out into the community, as will all of the other recipients.
One more question, Mr. Chairman. Remind me the accountability aspect of this. How are they showing that the money was properly spent? Whom do they show that to?
So they'll be required to submit invoices to the county. The county's required to retain those invoices for a period of 5 years, and then we turn around and submit those to the state. It's our understanding that the state is going to review everything that is submitted. I don't know the level of detail of that review. They are still staffing up their Spark office in Topeka. They have a new person on board as of yesterday to manage the county program.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
That having been said, I assume and want everyone to know that if someone applies for the money through us and the state runs an audit and they say that $100,000 of this is not approved, the business does have to give that money back to the state. Is that correct?
Yeah, so technically the county has signed an agreement saying that we will have to give it back to the state, and then the agreements that we will seek with each of these businesses will say exactly what you said, Mr. Chairman, that we want to get that money back from them.
So do we take that money out of your pay or the committees or who? We're counting on you here. Okay, other commissioners, comments, questions? I think normally I only take public comment on RFAs and action items, but I guess this is an RFA, so I will open it up for anyone from the public who wishes to speak or make a comment regarding this. Please give us your name and address, please.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Lori Barnett, and my address is 2196 Wesley here in Salina. I was one of the 37 that applied for the grant. I would like to say I appreciate all the work that the committee has done on this. I understand the slight timeline that they had in getting this processed, but I will say that it's a little frustrating. Given what we were asked to do and turn in our applications, the 37 of us that did, we met the guidelines and we turned it in like we were asked to. It was a little disappointing to not feel like, I guess that our applications were really looked over very well. I was assured that we were. I watched all the meetings and listened to all the comments. I guess what I really want to say is I'm hoping that the chamber, when I understood that we were going to have to reapply, it was a little frustrating to know that we were going to be lumped back in and that other people were going to be applying for this same money, because there was a deadline for it. So now, if everyone else is allowed to apply for this money, then that kind of defeated the purpose for us to apply in the first place, I guess is what I'm saying. I applied on behalf of my in-home childcare, and I do feel like in-home childcares are being really kind of left out of understanding what's happening with the coronavirus. I serve children ages 2 through 12. Half of my children are preschool age and younger. The other half are grade school age and older. And this year is going to be a very trying time for the 120 daycare providers in this town that are going to be trying to care for children ages 2 through 5 while also teaching children those 3 days a week when they're out of school. And I really feel like as a community, we are missing that group of children. We are forgetting about them. Daycare centers are going to be caring for the littles. The middle school, I understand KDEB has a great program that they're going to offer for our middle school students. Middle school students are they can take care of their own homework. They've learned that by now. But boy, we sure do have a whole group of kids that are going to be left behind. And those K through 5 students, they do not know how to do their homework on their own. So that really is falling back on daycare providers. And we could really use some help. We really could. And that was my whole purpose for applying for this, was to bring awareness for those children. And I think as a community, we've really failed on remembering how it's going to be for them. They're going to be in school 2 days a week. The other 3 days a week, they're going to be home with us. And that is a job that we didn't ask for, but we're willing to take on. And I feel very passionate about it. And I'm very, very worried for these children. I'm going to have 6 students in my home that I'm going to be trying to teach at the same time I'm watching 6 other children, plus taking them all to school and picking them up. And it's a lot. It's really a lot. And this money that we'll be receiving from the, trying to think, it'd be the Child Care Aware. I believe that they ask for a grant. That money is not going to help us teach these kids. And the money that I applied for was so that I could hire a second person to come in and help me teach. Because I'm at a loss. 12 kids all day, plus taking them back and forth to school, I'm only going to be spread so thin. And I'm going to do my very best because I love each and every one of them. But daycare providers need some help. And I sure hope that you all recognize that. I'm very passionate about it. I apologize. I'm very emotional about it. But anyway, thank you for your time.
I feel compelled to speak back just a little bit. And you said that you were really up against it in the time frame. I think what we were up against was dealing with all of these and such an enormous amount of money. And if you feel like you've had a proposal that is merit, I'm certain that the Chamber of Commerce is going to look at just that. I mean, I've seen emails lately. That is priority number one with the Chamber and the school board is childcare, you know, and getting people back to work. That is their top priority. And I'm certainly not capable of making that decision in the right way. I'm not an educator and I'm not a child care provider, but I know that they are, and they've got people that are on it right now. So I can't imagine that your proposal that you submitted to the county wouldn't be sufficient to submit to the Chamber of Commerce. So I wish you well in that, and everyone is aware of the child care provider situation right now. So don't feel like I can understand that you feel left out, but you're not. You know, it's on everyone's radar.
I appreciate that.
So,
Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone else wish to address the commission regarding? If not, I'll bring it back to the commission for approval or a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve the recommendations of the committee as presented and uphold the required submittals to the state.
Second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve RFA 197-20, submission of Coronavirus Relief Fund Direct Aid Plan to the state. Is there any further discussion? All of those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. The motion does carry. Again, I want to thank the committee so much for their hard work and due diligence in this emergency situation. So thanks to each of you.